Hello and welcome. Today we're exploring the role of nutrition science in longevity. Not just fad diets or quick fixes, but the real science-backed ways food influences how long and how well we live. Over the next 12 minutes, I'll walk you through the mechanisms behind aging and nutrition, the dietary patterns linked to longer lives, what the latest evidence says about macronutrients, micronutrients, the microbiome, and how to build a practical, sustainable roadmap you can use today. We'll also cover emerging tools, like personalized biomarkers and wearables, and the limits of what nutrition can achieve on its own. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistent, evidence-backed choices that compound year after year. Later, I'll reveal one small, everyday habit that research shows may yield outsized benefits for aging well. You won't expect it. Food is more than fuel. Nutrition interacts with the biological processes that drive aging. Inflammation, oxidative stress, cellular senescence, mitochondrial function, protein homeostasis, and epigenetic regulation. These are the levers of aging biology. For example, chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, accelerates tissue damage and raises the risk of chronic disease. Similarly, poor nutrient quality can increase glycation, sugars binding to proteins, which stiffens tissues and impairs function over time. Other important pathways include NAD plus metabolism and sirtuin activity, cellular programs linked to energy sensing and longevity in many species. While human evidence is complex, the consistent theme is this: food can either support maintenance and repair or contribute to wear and tear over decades. Small, repeated choices shape these pathways. Curiosity loop. There's a surprising link between a common pantry spice and reduced cellular damage. I'll explain which one later and how to use it effectively. Look beyond single nutrients and focus on patterns. Longevity-linked diets, Mediterranean, Okinawan, and various blue zones, share common features: plant-forward plates, regular intake of legumes and whole grains, moderate fish, low intake of red and processed meats, limited added sugars, and positive social and cultural food contexts. These patterns deliver diverse phytochemicals, fiber, and healthy fats that act together to reduce risk factors for heart disease, stroke, and metabolic decline. One important theme: variety. Different plants provide different polyphenols and nutrients, and diverse diets support a more resilient microbiome and metabolic profile. Social eating and slower meals correlate with better appetite regulation and more mindful food choices. Small behavioral things that matter over a lifetime. Later, I'll break down a simple daily plate inspired by blue zones. One plate you can use to mirror their benefits without moving to the Mediterranean. Macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats are building blocks, but the timing and quality of these macros shapes outcomes. Protein supports tissue repair and muscle maintenance, which is crucial for independence as we age. Essential amino acids, particularly leucine, trigger muscle protein synthesis, so spreading reasonable protein across meals helps preserve muscle mass and function. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Whole grains and fiber-rich carbs stabilize blood glucose and support the microbiome. Avoid frequent high-glycemic refined carb spikes that drive insulin resistance. Fats matter. Replace saturated and trans fats with monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats like olive oil, nuts, and oily fish for cardiovascular and cognitive support. Timing strategies like time-restricted eating can improve metabolic markers for some people. Shorter daily eating windows may reduce late-night calorie overload and give cells more time to perform maintenance tasks like autophagy. But for older adults or those with higher protein needs, ensure fasting strategies don't reduce total protein intake. The best approach balances metabolic benefits with muscle preservation. Micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals are essential cofactors for thousands of reactions. Certain nutrients commonly decline with age or are harder to absorb. vitamin B12, vitamin D, iron in some groups, and calcium for bone health. Omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish or high-quality supplements support heart and brain health in many studies. Supplements can be helpful when deficiencies exist, but they carry risks, interactions with medications, variability in product quality, and the false allure of anti-aging pills. Large randomized trials of single high-dose antioxidants often show no lifespan benefits and, in some cases, harm. The best strategy: use whole foods first, test and track lab values, and apply targeted supplementation only when clinically indicated. Prioritize reputable products and discuss dose and duration with a healthcare professional. Think of your gut like a garden. Diet is the gardener. Fiber, diverse plant foods, and fermented products cultivate beneficial species that produce short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, which feed colon cells, reduce inflammation, and support metabolic health. Processed diets lower microbial diversity and often increase metabolites linked to disease risk. Practical tactics: rotate plant foods weekly, different colors and families, include at least one fermented food several times a week, yogurt, kefir, kimchi, miso, and prioritize whole legumes and oats that provide prebiotic fibers. Over time, these choices increase microbial diversity, a consistent correlate of healthier aging. We're entering an era where measurements inform personalization. Genetic variants can influence responses to certain nutrients. Continuous glucose monitors. CGMs reveal individual glucose responses to the same foods. Microbiome profiles suggest different fiber responses. Biomarkers: CRP for inflammation, HbA1c for glucose control, lipid panels, and muscle function tests help tailor plans. However, personalization is noisy. Not all tests are ready for broad consumer use, and interpretation matters. Start with core biomarkers and lifestyle rules, then layer personalization if you can act on the results with guidance from clinicians or dietitians. Technology is a tool, not a shortcut, and often reinforces the same core message: more plants, less ultra-processed food, and attention to protein and micronutrients. Let's make this tangible. A week-long microplan that respects longevity science. To breakfast: whole grain porridge topped with nuts, seeds, and berries. Fiber plus polyphenols. Lunch: big salad with mixed beans, olive oil, and a small portion of oily fish. Dinner: vegetable-forward stew with whole grains and a lean protein. Snacks: fruit, yogurt, handful of nuts. Behavioral habits: eat with others when possible. Prioritize sleep, 7+ hours supports recovery. Move daily, resistance training twice a week helps. Muscle retention, and reduce stress with short practices like 5 minutes of breath work. Shopping list highlights: legumes, oats, whole grains, mixed frozen vegetables, olive oil, canned tuna, sardines, nuts, yogurt, spices, including turmeric. Small experiment: try a 10-day plant-forward challenge. Track sleep, mood, energy, and a simple lab if available. Small wins compound. Nutrition is powerful but not omnipotent. Structural factors, food accessibility, education, income, and healthcare, shape outcomes. Public policy, food systems, and cultural norms must shift to enable healthier choices at scale. Additionally, research often relies on observational data. Randomized long-term diet trials are challenging and expensive, which is why scientists triangulate evidence across epidemiology, biomarkers, and mechanistic research. In short, aim for individual improvement, but advocate for systems that make healthy choices easier for everyone. Nutrition science shapes the pathways of aging through effects on inflammation, metabolism, cell repair, and the microbiome. Practical patterns: plant-forward diets, attention to protein and micronutrients, fiber-rich foods, and lifestyle supports are repeatable strategies that help people live longer, healthier lives. The pantry spice I mentioned is turmeric. Its active compound, curcumin, has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties in lab studies. And when combined with black pepper and a fat source, it becomes more bioavailable. It's a great culinary addition, but remember, it's a complement, not a cure. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe and hit the bell. Drop a comment. Which small swap will you try this week? If you want a deeper dive, I'll be releasing a follow-up video on top, anti-inflammatory foods and practical meal plans. Don't miss it. For personalized medical or dietary advice, consult a qualified health professional.